charitable ownership is not about avoiding Irish tax. What I'm told is that it is about avoiding US tax, and that actually it is part of the tax avoidance mechanism. Now, as it happens, this was on the national broadcaster today, the Matheson Foundation. Matheson Foundation is wholly owned by Matheson lawyers. Matheson lawyers are one of the lawyers of choice for a lot of the vulture funds. They've helped them set all these structures up. And so Matheson set up their own charitable trust, which owns a load of the vulture funds. But what you described, Minister, was what is quite common legal and financial practice around the world in terms of funds being owned by trusts. And they're not linked in any way to charity. But actually what Matheson did was they set up a children's charity, a real children's charity. It had a photograph the last time I looked of Minister Varadkar on the front out at DCU with the chief executive of the children's charity, who's one of the partners in Matheson, giving awards to high-performing kids. So in Ireland, I take your point that if we don't have trusts that can be used that are not charitable trusts, so maybe that is a facet of Irish law. But you would think that they wouldn't actually operate them as children's charities at the same time, and say, look, if under law it has to be called a charitable trust, so be it. But we're going to park it over here, and everyone's going to recognise what this is. But actually, that's not what they've done. They've set up children's charities, or a children's charity in this case, in the Matheson's case. I haven't looked at any of the others. It transpired, I read into the House several months ago, this children's charity. And on their website, on their front page, they list a lot of the children's groups that they fund. Temple Street Children's Hospital was one of them, which I referenced several months ago in Leaders' Questions. Temple Street Children's Hospital came onto the radio today and said, we've never heard of the Matheson Foundation. We don't get any money from the Matheson Foundation, and we have absolutely no idea why the Matheson Foundation is listing us on their website as one of their charitable causes. So I think it would be bad enough if vulture funds were using legal boxes that happen to be called charitable trusts for tax avoidance and to protect themselves from bankruptcy. It's worse that, at least in this case, they're saying, do you know what, we're going to create a real children's charity, and we're going to vest ownership of the vulture funds in a real children's charity, owned by the same legal firm that actually creates all the tax avoidance, or some of the tax avoidance, helps them. But it's even worse that the children's charity that owns, God only knows how many vulture funds in this country, and God only knows how many funds that may be evicting children from their houses. But to actually state that the Temple Street Children's Hospital is one of our charitable causes, and have the Temple Street Children's Hospital come on to RTE today and say, we're not, we've never heard of these guys. I mean, that really takes the biscuit.